Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, and for the first time ever after quite a few months, ACC PC streams do return. It is 2026, it is season number 1. Welcome to the Open GT Series, Beginners, AMs, and Pro. You join us midway through qualifying, beginners are done, now it's down to the pros and the AMs, followed by a 45-minute race. You're watching live on IFWL Official. I'm Alexi, and I will bring you all the action that you are spotting tonight here around this circuit. I will just give a disclaimer, unfortunately, some liveries haven't synced it seems, so there may be a few carbon fibre cars out there, but that is simply down to me being a bit of a newbie to streaming on PC, so for that we do apologise. Currently watching the man going out there at the moment, it is going to be Turner. Currently P number 10 with no lap time on the board. A big mark though is Mark and Morgan, pun intended, are going to be receiving penalties due to qualifying outside of their split. Of course, it is a split qualifying session over 20 minutes. First 10 minutes for the beginners, final 10 minutes for the Pro and Pro Am. So penalties will be coming their way. So currently, as it does currently sit, it is going to be Van Koglberg. I apologise for the bad pronunciation. In P number 1 with a 1 minute 31.927. They will round out the top in the beginners, followed by Lekaj and then Fisher in P number 3. It's then Borgner, whom P number 4 with, of course, Schlender will be P number 5. It will be then followed by Scarpiri, and then, of course, McQueen. Not too much of a split, those top 3 separated by only just under 0.8 of a second. So, how's that going to be a disadvantage? We'll wait and see as we head around Valencia. If you watched earlier on this week, you know that the console was here on Wednesday, and that was a race and a half. Of course, the length is being brought down from an hour to 45 minutes. So, is that going to be a big change for these drivers? Of course, I said it last time and I'll say it again. You never know with the way that the mentality may work between these drivers. They come around here and they get ready and raring to go. I think my audio is spiking a little bit, so I'm going to do a quick little edit on my audio. Please do let me know if the audio is running okay. Of course, my settings are a little bit different to console, but right now, this man, of course, Turner to the line here, and that'll be a 131.322. Nice and smooth up at the top for the number 66. The number 5 of Glendingen is going to be P number 4 right now with, of course, Blems being P number 9, but realistically P number 7 due to the penalties coming some of the drivers' way. One of the perks about being here on PC is it's a lot easier to catch people coming to the line. Here comes Mike Johnson in P number 16 at the moment with no current lap time. They go across, they go P number 16 still, as you've got plenty of drivers coming across the board. Quite a few sat in the pit lane. I would not be surprised if those were beginners. Now, I am looking at a few of these drivers, and it is very tight up top. In fact, we've got a new leader of Bania, who is right up there, and is going to be there. Glenn Dingy is his name, and we were watching quite a bit, as we are watching him now. I am not going to say that team name, but he's in the number 5. I'm getting Sebastian Vettel vibes from this man, if I do say so myself. But right now, they do head around the circuit in a Nissan of Vol cars. I wonder how that will fare around this circuit. Maybe you can catch up on the console action. We did see quite a lot of cars making some moves around the circuit, including, that is a very nice Nissan, if I must say so myself. That matte finish, perfect, as it does head into these final corners. There's Blems, and of course there is Jones making their way in this. GT World on that banner. Of course, you are watching live on IFWL, and of course you can become a Patreon today, and just for this month only, you can see it on the screen, and I'll tell you right now, it is for a short time. Every single tier is 50% off on our Patreon. Use code Lexi at checkout to get 50% off your first month. And of course, you do get plenty of benefits for that, including liveries, I believe. So, be sure to check us out. Go to patreon.com/IFWL. And if you would like to get involved today, go to www.patreon.net. And then, of course, follow our socials at IFWL Official. So, who is going to come out on top in this one? We'll wait and see, as it is now going to be the L who is up top as they make their way around. This is going to be one of the awkward things. It's not so bad in the race, but in qualifying it can be a bit awkward. We're trying to find the right driver. There we are. There is Turner. There is L. Turner. So quite a few yellows out there as around goes the Macca. Was that contact? It definitely seems like it as the Beamer pulls to the side. Qualifying is definitely spicing up in this one. And we do not have long left. Only 4 minutes left on the clock. Here comes Timothy Glendingy as they head to the line. P number 4 at the current moment, 0.840 off the top time. Bania is 0.172, and Glendingy is going to get that across, but that is going to be Paputski in there as well. Of course, Dulems also there, as there is Dulems. They are P number 3 at the moment. One of the amateur drivers, of course, you'll be able to tell who is who in what category by their number plates. If it's a white number plate with a black number, then that is, of course, your pro drivers. The amateur drivers have silver plates with white numbers, and of course, your beginners have the red number plates with black numbers. It's kind of like multi-class, but more multi-category. Everybody's in a GT3, but they've all got their own championship. You got the pro, you got the am, you have got the beginner. Who's going to come on top? Who's going to come out on top tonight? You never know until it's over. Of course, we're at Valencia with 3 minutes left on the clock. 21-degree air temperature with a 28-degree track. Personally, for Valencia, I'd say that's pretty cool. But then again, it is nice and sunny with a little bit of cloud in the sky. No wind either. So good luck if those brakes heat up, because you are not going to be getting much air into those brake ducts. You're going to have them wide open as number 57 makes their way around. Glendingy also around there at the moment. This is Jones in the P number 14 at the moment, in P number 321, as they are number 47 of Oliver Lapere in P number 20. One of the few Ford Mustangs. There's quite a lot of Aston Martins from what I am seeing, and it is going all over the place. Now around the right-hander, this is the interesting part about this segment of the circuit. Valencia is more of a MotoGP circuit. You can tell by the way that it has those lines that go around those wider lines, like the thinner, wider lines, usually on the outside of a corner. Those are actually how penalties are given out in motorbikes. So you do that, and that is how they get their penalties. Unlike these ones, you get stop go or you get drive through. We had quite a few of those the other day, as that is P number 19 for La Par in P with a 3.317 off the top time. 1 minute 34.302 was the best lap time just after that one. So quite a few here, as we see quite a lot of people in the pit lane as well. Next to the line is going to be a Lamborghini of Isa Sanchez in the line. P number 21, 4.218 off the top. There is a Red Bull Ferrari, if I've ever seen one, running the matte livery. I don't think that's entirely accurate nowadays if you've seen that, but that is going to be Natale in P number 7. Of course, Bania is now back up top, 1 minute 36.77 in there as well. So the Ferrari and the Aston Martin seem to be the car that is opted for around this circuit. And how will that affect the driver strategies as well? Of course, there's still a mandatory pit stop, so with the Ferrari being good on its fuel, I would definitely say that's an interesting factor. But also, you got to remember, a lot of Aston Martin drivers do say that the Aston does dip down a bit when it's exiting the pit lane. So maybe it is the overcut that some drivers will want to opt for when up against an Aston Martin, because that will help them out in the long run. We got results. We got support in the chat for quite a few of these drivers. Let us know who you're supporting here live at IFWL. So there is Pavel right now in the P number 25 position in the current moment. 5.530 off the top, in between some beginners at the moment. We will be now checkered line, checkered. It is that, and it is ready to go. 911 next to the line. That's going to be Natale as they come to the line. It's to the line in the Ferrari. P number 7 at the moment. 1.223 off the top. To the line. They go to P number 6 to keep it just over a second So that is going to be their lap time completed. Number 73 next to the line, that's going to be Reese Halliwell as they come across here, going to the line in the Aston Martin. British machinery on this soil, P number 18 in their position. Next to the line will be the number 54, who does actually invalidate. So that was Zuralev, actually. They've invalidated. So only Reese McElwain is the driver who is going to be able to get a lap time in now. If they do not invalidate, we won't know if they invalidate because the session will end itself and they will pop up with it down and through the final corners in the longer 13, which looks a bit like Qatar's knife, if I must say so myself. Not Qatar's, Jeddah's knife, but into the pit lane comes Reese. That is going to be that, and it is Benali, who is P number 1 tonight. And then, of course, you're going to have the P number 2 position as well. We'll get to those in just a second. In fact, why am I doing this? I'm on PC now. It's a lot easier for me to be able to do this. It is Bania who will line up on pole position with, of course, the L in P number 2. Brem sits P number 3 with Papo Sticks in P number 4. He's then Glenn Dingy in P number 5, Natale P number 6, Mick Elwain in P number 7 with Van Kordenberger in P number 8. Lecage in P number 9 and then Jones in P number 10. That is how qualifying lines up. We'll get your full grid order in a short moment. Of course, a big thank you to our affiliates, G-Portal, Fanatec, SimGrid, Loaded, who is formerly CD Keys, and Coach Dave Academy. If you're in our Discord, you can find their affiliate links. And when you do use their affiliate links to purchase any products, IFWL does make some revenue. Of course, all revenue made by IFWL goes straight back into the league to help us out with server costs, running the league, and of course, commentators. So feel free to check them out. Of course, once again, patreon.com/IFWL to become a Patreon today. Starts as little as £2 on a bronze and around about £15 for a gold. But this month, on all tiers, code Lexi, that's LEXI, all capitals, for 50% off whatever tier you purchase. We've got your race action coming your way in just a moment. We'll be right back after a short intermission. So we welcome you back, and of course it's a little bit different here. It's a short formation lap. Of course, keep in mind, due to going out in the wrong split of qualifying, car number 22 and 24 will be given stop-go 30s. But 1 hour of racing ahead here in PC Open GT. It is all eyes for the first time in 26 to the gantry lights. Green flag drops and we are racing. Bania is seemingly going to get a good start, but not as much as the driver behind. Right alongside is going to be Turner. Already trying to battle him all the way down to turn number 1. Going around the outside. Nice and smooth. That is how it's going to sit, but he goes a little bit wide. That's instantly going to be a stop. That's instantly going to be a time thing, I would say. Down the inside goes Simon Natale, as that's going to be P number 2 of Bania, who's going to go back up the inside. Good move by Natale. They get straight up into P number 3. They're going to be on the charge as they head through. Morgan's there with a stop go 30. A little bit behind is going to be Papo Saki, as they have made their way through, as the board will update in just a moment. But that is how they sit on the opening lap. Of course, we'll get your intervals a little bit later on, as you want the full viewing experience here on the opening lap. Already up ahead is going to be the Ferrari, nice and clean through turn number 1, as you can see on the minimap. A lot of these drivers making it up and down the field, as down the inside looks for the Aston Martin. No move made, as in fact that's not Aston Martin, my apologies, that is a Mercedes, as they head around this circuit. So now heading now at the Lamborghini also there. All of these positions are going to be updated. Here is another Lamborghini trying to get the move done on the Aston Martin in front. This is Morgan versus Halliwell as they continue around this circuit. Of course, Clifford Morgan. Lots of Brits in here tonight as you continue around, as we go towards the end of lap number 1 through 12 and then into 13. It's pretty sturdy up at the front, but now once again it's going to be the Merc versus the Red Bull as they head down the main straight. Number 74 chasing down the 911. It's down and through the Brit versus the Italian. Simone Natale is going to try to fend it. Number 47's got deep in the final corner, and we'll try and get a replay of on that soon, but now it's going to be deep for both of these drivers, and it's going to be an advantage for the Ferraris as the Merc gets a moment there. And now it's going to be trying to go around the outside is Dario Brems, already trying to go for it through 2, through 3, incredibly close between these two drivers, and that's going to be a yellow flag for the number 28 as they head around this circuit, and they have gone around further back. Now let's hope that nothing too bad happens. That is the 720, so it looks like, where's number 28? It was Jan van Krulenberg. So they were the driver who went round the Ferrari in the number 28 as we go try and get back to the front of the field. This is the front of the field. Bania is starting to drive away a little bit, and while we were looking away, that has happened up front just about, so not much on that one, but the Ferrari does stay ahead. So now it's a Ferrari 2, 3, 4. Is that going to come into an effective position at the end? Because a stop go 30 for the other drivers is very good. Also, Lecage, highest beginner driver. Highest beginner driver is Lecage. So that's what happened up there, and that is going to be the interesting part at the end of the day. The 28 seemingly spinning in turn number 2, building up the revs, round it goes, and that is a classic blunder at the corner, as now these drivers make their way through as very, very deep. Hello, off goes off of there, Zerb. There is Sanchez, who also went deep, but also going deep is Jan van Krulenberg. So they went incredibly deep. Mackie is in this fight as they head down the main straight. Looking to go free abreast for a moment, but now only 2 a square. Going into the turn number 1. Number 77 a little bit too much on the inside. Ferrari may go deep, and you can use quite a lot of that greenery, but be careful. Valencia is one of those circuits where you can push it, but if you push it too much, you will get bit. As round goes Mackie, P number 19 off onto the grass, just as we talk about biting. And it's the number 54 round as well. That is not what these drivers would have wanted here tonight. And it seems like it's already out of my back pocket. The commentator's curse is hitting live here on Twitch as you got the drivers who had the stop go 30. Of course, number 22 and the number 24, Benjamin Mark and Clifford Morgan down here. So they did get, in fact, stop go 30 still for Morgan actually. So not yet served, so that was an interesting factor. The Red Bull Ferrari seemingly driving away a little bit. So at the end of the day, it comes down to strategy, because each moment has its options. Number 24, 720 have also had a moment. So let's get a replay on that as we head into this lap. So we'll go with the number 28, of course, race. Could have get race control working properly, but this is the incident earlier on. So it looks like, actually, as we go into slow motion, so that this board at the bottom can get off my screen. Tap on the rear by the Ferrari. Round goes the number 21. And then, well, 28 on the board, but it's 21 on the car. As there's, oh no, yeah. Contact and then initial contact. Possibly another hit on the rear end. And the Lamborghini into the back of the 720. A little bit of airtime for these guys. And, oh, I feel bad for that Aston Martin. So, a 4-car pile up there in the moment, and that is what has been set in stone. But now, going up at the top, there's your gaps. It is Bania, who's up top at the moment, 3 laps deep on lap number 4 now, followed by P number 2 of L. Turner, followed by Natale, then Blems and Pudsaki in there as well. Mick Elwain is trying to fight their way through. So, they're in a Lamborghini, not the one that went round. There's the one that went round, that was Sanchez. So, that's what happened there. Bania making their way through, as they do lead this. It's 21-degree ambient, 28-degree track. No rain on the radar either. So, get your thoughts in. Let us know who you're supporting and who you want out there tonight, because you've got plenty of choices, but you have another 53 minutes left on this clock to see what will happen. Definitely getting a bit more spread out on this grid, but that is what you love to see when there's these type of drivers. There is Lecage making their way through. Of course, unfortunately, in a carbon fibre car, because my liveries didn't work. I do apologise if anybody has nice looking liveries, but the carbon fibre. So, quite a few of the choices to be made. Lepare making it in the moment as they head on through these corners. Pavel Zuravelev had a brain fart moment. I apologise. As the rest of the grid is pretty clean. There's a bit of a gap opening up. The top driver has got away, of course, Bania. And are we really surprised? Like, when you look at this driver and when you look at what they are able to do, it really shouldn't be a surprise. Like, Bania is up there. They're a benchmark driver as well. They're consistent, etc. Like, I wonder if that will be the story of the season. Is it going to be domination, or is it going to be a fact, or is it going to be a fact of this man may actually get some competition? Because we're looking at the drivers behind. There is, of course, P number 2 of Turner in the current moment. Of course, Turner also a pro driver, but mixed results. So, whilst the results were mixed, he's still competitive. So, no demotion was justified coming from last season. Of course, you got some brand new beginners out there. I'm trying to see who there is. Lindsay McQueen is a legit beginner. So let's see if we can find McQueen actually. In fact, we've got quite a few gaps here. We got this one here. Is in fact 0. This is a nice little fight. So Elwain has actually fallen behind in this as the rest of the grid makes their way through. But this gap, here we go, 3-car fight. So this is between Jones, Lecage, and Clifton. And Clifton said heading their way round through the left-hander now with 50 minutes left on the clock. Onto the main straight. Of course, if you're watching live on Twitch, do not forget you can subscribe today to avoid any adverts that may come your way during the process of this broadcast, because we got battles ongoing and you do not want to miss any action which can happen at any moment as they're looking for around the outside of turn number 1. Aston Martin getting very close. Kristen moves to the inside line with Porsche on the outside of Lecage. Down the inside goes the Aston Martin, using as much curb as possible to stay right there with him. Now under the inside again as they head through 3. Next up will be 4 and 5. Porsche will be just about a little bit ahead, a little bit of contact. Straight line Aston, corners Porsche. That is going to be Lecage, who puts up a mega defense. They are a beginner driver, yet they are battling like there's no tomorrow with a pro. Never say never in sim racing action. I'm trying to look at my notes. I don't have... Do I have Lecage on my notes? I do not believe I do. So, not only am I going in blind for this one, hello, we had a car go around. Who went round? It was Reese Halliwell, it seems. No, they got up the order. Okay, there's Pavel Zurlev. They're higher up because they pitted, their lap because they pitted earlier, it seems. Whilst this fight back here is closing in slowly. But, once again, Aston Martin straight line. In fact, they did get past while we were looking behind that yellow. So, let's see if the no, Porsche is there. Camera angles being awkward. I do apologise. As they head through the left-hander, once the end of turn number 1. Nice and smooth. Still trying to get some rust off from the holiday breaks, ladies and gentlemen. As I'm sure some drivers will be as well. That's another thing that needs to be taken into consideration as Benjamin Mark is over to the side because there is a lap car coming through. It's not any lap car, it's the leader. That is going to be Banny, who is Banny are making their way through with turn P number 2. Continuing in that fight as they head through the left-hander on this circuit. If you like what you're seeing and you want to get involved, go to www.ifwl.net and keep updated by following our socials at IFWL Official. But if you want to get some early access to stuff and even more perks, go to patreon.com/IFWL. You can get started for as little as £1 a month at the moment with a bronze subscription, or you can upgrade to silver and gold. But keep in mind at that rate, because for quite a while, from in fact now to, well, let me double check the date. So in fact from today from today through to March 31st, if you use code Lexi at checkout, you can get 50% off your first month. So do keep that in mind when you're watching the racing action like here tonight. We do head around this circuit nice and clean, but we do of course have plenty of races coming your way here across the season. So we will remind you that I think it's this one. No, it's not. Okay, my bad. I was trying to find something, but it's not on my OBS. My bad. So do not forget though, we don't need the actual image for it at the moment, but there is IFWL Logistics now available on, I believe it's truckers.com, as you can of course, or Truckers Books. There is of course IFWL Logistics now on the lovely game called Euro Truck Simulator 2. So when our races are around, of course, many of our races are around Europe. So if you would like to help us out by transporting equipment in-game to each race weekend, of course, jobs will be put up and you will be able to do so. Help us out here at IFWL. Join IFWL Logistics today. So this once again is the fight further ahead. It is Natale who has fallen behind. Well, in fact, not fallen behind, fallen back as through when the other Ferrari of Blems, they've got, very wide for Brems. That'll be a track limit warning. So Natale right now in this fight. And choosing their option. As I was trying to find the information, Lecage registered today So that is why I have no notes. Lecage has joined IFWL today, and they are brand new. So, wishing luck to Lecage. P number 9, the number 49 in the Porsche. So, this is the good thing about having some beginners in this. By having beginners, it enables you to be able to, how do I say it? See the field, see where they are at, and get a better understanding of each driver's mentality, because you got Jones right there, here's Kristen, and then Lecage. In fact, Lecage is right on the back of Kristen and Jones. So, are they going to choose these options? Let's find out as we go on board with the Porsche. In fact, let's go on board with the Aston Martin instead, because this is going to give us the insight that we need in the option. You get the front row seat of the, of course, lovely Mercedes just ahead. And then, of course, you've got the Porsche behind. So when I'm in front, beginner behind, and pro in the middle. Who comes out on top in this? We'll have to continue to watch. We got 44 minutes remaining on the clock. As in the background, Lecage seemingly caught up in a fight with the Porsche behind, as that is the wrong button. That's the correct button, as hello Lamborghini. It's not, that's the mine they were called up with. It was Reese McElwain as they headed through the circuit, as once again a little bit further up, here comes the Aston Martin, trying to get past Jones, it seems, heading through these corners, wheel to wheel, side by side, out through 4 and 5 into 6. Aston Martin squirming all over the back of the car, and it seems like they are just lapped at the moment, so a little bit unfortunate for them. Maybe Halliwell, actually. Let's find out. In fact, no, it's Mike Jones. It's Mike Johnson, and they've got a drive-through, but right now here, hello there for Aston Martin and Lamborghini in that fight. But now, once again, Jones still trying to hold on to this position with the Aston Martin behind, Porsche behind that. It is going to be Christensen versus Lecage as well. Through the right-hander in 13. Long left-hander is 13 and down towards 14. Track temperature's gone up a little bit, up to 29 degrees. Of course, Johnson, Mackie, San de Sas Zeber is all pitted. And of course, we've got plenty of drivers out there tonight, as the full list will possibly come up, please. 24 drivers on the list at the moment, only not many to pit, as here comes Kristen into turn number 1. 247 down the inside, and that's going to be the move made by the 247. Christensen up and past the Merc, and so does the Porsche. Through goes Lecage. Very aware of the surroundings, incredibly close to the Merc as they head into the complex of 4 and 5 once again. But carbon fibre on the car, but no mistake made. Under the helicopter, which is up in our sky. The cameraman holding that camera very smoothly, I must say so myself. As they go through the left-hander. Porsche rear end slips. Here comes Jones round the outside. Still keeps on circuit within the white line just about. And that's the move done by the Merc in the 3-2-1. But now once again, Lecage, maybe pressure starting to mount on the rookie as they try and fight their way through this field with all these drivers that are high up in the divisions. But of course, keep in mind, you've all got your own championship. Each driver has got their own championship they need to contend with. So at the end of the day, you see the Porsche there heading their way around. And that's your grid order on the left-hand side. Bania leads, followed by L. Then it's going to be Blems, Natalia, Glenn Dingy, as well as Pugstakis, followed by Kristen, and then Jones, Lecage rounding out the top 10. It is going to be this man of Zavantis. I will say, all aboard the Porsche Express, it seems, here tonight in Valencia. Rest of the order then goes as follows. Fisher, Halliwell, McElwain, Borgner, Van Kurenberg, Schlender, Lapler, Scarperi, Sanchez, Mark, Mackie, Desas, Zuber, then Zuravel as well, with Johnson down in P number 24. So that is your full order as the rest of the teams continue to fight their way through. Up the inside is Mark, up against a Ferrari, it seems, as the gaps are now back on your screen at the last time in points, of course. So, continuing around this circuit. Leader there in P number 1. On to lap number 14 here at Valencia. 13 completed. There is, of course, Turner. And Sanchez will opt to call the box. Into the pit lane comes the number 21. This will be the 5th driver. Fifth driver to come into the pit lane and to serve their pit stop. I don't know. I wasn't counting with my fingers. I don't know what you're on about. Daniel Jones right now for DTJ Racing, in the livery at least. The British driver in the 3-2-1. Into turn number 1 right now. I wonder if they are related to another Jones who races over in console. Because, then again, it is going to be that. As, of course, a little bit of an update from the console side, because of course, as you're watching live here on IFWL, we do have 2 series that run alongside on our Fridays. Of course, you've got the PC Open GT here on PC, and then you have got of course, you also have the Friday Night Finesse with Porsche Cup and GT4 over on console. And fun fact, at the current plan, I'll be flip-flopping between the two, as Lecage has got a drive-through penalty. But unfortunately for the console drivers, just like unfortunately Lecage's this drive-through, there was a major server crash. The admins are working on it. GT4s are not having fun, seemingly not having fun with it. So they are going to, there's going to be a free-for-all 10-minute quali in that due to the server crash. So that is going to be the matter over there and how it will be dealt with. Big props to our admins for dealing with any issues that may arise whilst all the action is happening live here on PC, but also keeping an eye on console. Of course, another big thank you to our affiliates, G-Portal, Fanatec, SimGrid, Loaded, who is formerly CD Keys, and Coach Dave Academy. If you purchase any of their services or equipment through our links in our Discord, of course, there will be a bit of revenue that won't go completely to them, as the number 57 has a spin. It will, of course, have a little bit go back into IFWL, and all revenue made for IFWL go straight back into the league to help us deal with server costs, league administration, and of course, hiring commentators. So, of course, also keep in mind that I was talking about console. That's not those PC, Open GT, and Friday Night Finesse aren't the only things that happen. Of course, we've got the Pro-Am series coming on Sundays your way, of course. I wonder who might be in the box for that one. I wonder. You'll have to wait to find out. It's Sundays, live here on IFWL official. Thursday nights goes over the race room with the touring cars at the moment. Good old BTCC action. Good old BTCC-esque action over on Racetrim. Of course, that broadcast is brought to you every single Thursday by Splitsum. Of course, you got myself in the box on Wednesday nights for the Console Open GT. So if you like what you're seeing on PC, maybe after this, go and have a look at what happened over on console. I can tell you, I can say right now, that was a race and a half when I watched that live. And it's now Fisher who's up against the man in front, the Porsche, continuously hounding, continuously searching at Vasilis Zavantis. The Greek driver, hello, who went off? That is the Porsche, that is Lecage. Oh, that was a moment at turn number 1, maybe veering back on, trying to defend the position now, but we've got to have the Porsche's fight. Down the inside goes Valencia Zavanetis as they go once again the inside of turn number 5 towards turn number 6. Who is it going to be? Who will it fare in the moment? Who has the opportunity to make their choice? It's going to be an interesting one to find out, but they will get ahead. And now it's going to be the Beamer and the Aston. Who will come into the effect on this one? Let's have a go on the bonnet cam, shall we? We know some drivers like to use this camera because you can tell who uses it, because when it's raining, well, look, thankfully no rain tonight, you can't see the wipers moving. So realistically, it is opted for, as that's very, very deep by the Aston Martin, and that is going to give an advantage here to the Ferrari behind of Borgner. So, the beginner driver currently sat P number 3 in their category, P number 13 overall, are looking for some. Very, very wide goes the Beamer, almost going into the gravel, but keeps it on the circuit. Simon Fisher just about holding onto it, but now through 13, Ferrari down the inside takes full advantage of that tighter line as we approach the halfway mark. It's expected around this point into the pit lanes. Lecage is going to have to serve that drive-through penalty. McElwain is there as well. They are trying to fight tooth and nail to get these opportunities through. So now, who's going to have the choice? That's a stop-go 30. Stop-go 30. I went to double check console real quick, see if there's any updates on that, and that is now a stop-go 30 for Lecage for speeding in the pit lane. So unfortunate for Lecage there tonight, as that will now put Fisher in the lead of that one. As hello, here comes Jan van Krulenberger as they make their way through the left-hander, holding on to it, and they now make the way through, heading through the right-hander, all across the movement. But still nothing yet. Still got P number 19 and below have pitted. Olap is in the pits, but 9 seconds up at the top as Blame goes down the inside of Glendingy. So they get that move. Words. They've got that move done. And they put themselves up into P number 4. .6 at the last timing point. Domination inbound. Lecage into the pit lane, as well as Christensen into the pits as well. So the top 3 are, of course, the pro drivers, as Christensen is going to fall down the order. Further back, 0.4 between these drivers. Jan van Krulenberg. And then, of course, ahead is going to be the Aston of Simon Fisher. Neil at the halfway point. And it is all to play for. Three, two, one's at a moment ahead. As there's Bogner making their way through. As down the inside goes Reese Halliwell. Merck in the matter. That's Daniel Jones, who does lose out, as into the pit lane comes the Brit in the Brit in the German engineering, and they are now P number 11. Plenty more drivers to come through. We got Zurlev in there as well. Mackie on top. So there is them, and there is Marcin Banier. The question is now, the Aston Martin does continue there. As an update from your console side, console end of quali update, driver 667 Pana Bianchio is on pole in GT3s with 126, 425, and driver two Manetro for GT4s in first. So that's your update from console. Through the left-hander now, as Blems tries to fight their way through down the middle, down the main stretch. But nothing too big at the moment. But apart from Bania in the pits. Apart from Bania in the pits, of course, because why wouldn't they be? There's the 707. As Mark actually got disqualified from the session. And there's Bania coming out of the circuit. Do a quick insert. P number 7 overall for the Aston Martin. So they do drop out the pit lane in P number 7. Right in the middle of the pack, really. Just over this halfway point as number 24 has RTG. Next to the pit lane will be next. Well, in the current lead is the number 66. But now the fight. So there is Turner. Are they going to make a move into the pit lane and keep an eye on that mini-map? But this is the fight further back, as it is going to be Jan van Krulenberg, who is making their way down. Looks for the inside line out of 5 into 6. And then once again trying to hop in the toe. Instantly, straight, like I said before, straight line and cornering the option for these two. You got the other driver. That is, of course, going to be behind of Flavio Borgner, as it's now going to be Wagenberger, who is going to go down the inside, and that is going to be that. There's your gaps and there's your move. It is done and dusted in the moment. It is going to be Jan van Krulenberg, who is going to be up into P number 9. Fisher will be down into P number will be down into P number 10 now, and then Borgner in P number 11. Of course, Bania is the lead driver, as they are yet to pit with net, and of course top 5 into the pits apart from Glenn Dingy, as into the pit lane will come Fisher, it seems, with that call. Or well, in fact, no, Fisher is ahead. It is Halliwell. Apologies. So now the number 5 in the lead of this, 66. Where are they at? They are behind this current pack. I believe they are ahead of Bania, though. The number, of course, Bania being the 707. They are well ahead. I didn't know that the Zero Cities ended up running here in. Didn't know that Zero Cities ended up running here in Valencia, but apparently they do. So making it clear what they're wanting. We're over halfway. It's 29-degree track temperature, 21-degree ambient. No rain on the radar so far. And, of course, no wind at all. It's going to be high and dry until the end. And you're watching live on IFWL Official. If you would like to avoid any adverts that may come your way during the broadcast, you can, of course, subscribe today for around about £5 a month. Of course, you do now unlock lots of emotes if you subscribe that you can use anywhere on Twitch. Plus, you avoid any adverts. Any adverts. So, keep in mind for that matter. As into the pit lane comes Scarpiri, as there is Bania. It's been updated. It's P number 2 overall. And only Glenn Dingy is yet to pit. You got the battle between Fisher, Kuhlenberg, Borgner, as they both come into the pit lane, actually. So it is a call for the box. You see him on the right hand side. Simon Fisher also in. Ferrari and the 2 Ferraris and the Beamer into this box. So who's going to come out on top? Right near each other. Onto the jacks. So there is Mike Johnson a little bit further back. The gap right now is between Schindler and Larp. Larp is yet to pit, that's the question. Into the pit lane come... Okay, the pit lane people have come in. Zantavis, there's the leader. There's Marcin Bania, who's currently P number 2 and chasing down the leader. Currently at 6.8 seconds on live timing. Of course, the big leaderboard only updates on the interval timings. And that does happen at every time point on the circuit. 3 of those, to be exact, here tonight. 1 in between turn 11 and 12, and another on, of course, main straight between 5 and 6, and then 12 and 13. So, continuing on this circuit, it does sit like that. Glendingy, Glen. I apologise about my bad pronunciations. Still learning names. Glendingy. There we go. Is career leading, but only because they are yet to pit. Banier does lead on net, currently sat P number 2. Zantavis is P number 3, with, of course, L. Turner in P number 4. I believe Zantanis is also yet to pit. Yes, they are. So, that is how it sits. That is how they go. As it's not much of a gap, really. One mistake around this circuit, one drive-through, and anyone in the top 5 can win this, as there's a mistake by Paul Mackey, who is going to end up losing out to Desas Zerbra. So, that's a move done by the Beamer, nice and smoothly after that little touch of the gravel the McLaren decided to eat up here tonight. And they now go past. Lovely move. As in the background there, you can see an Aston Martin. Lecage, of course, had a drive-through, and then a stop-go 30, plus their pit stop. The beginner who was leading their class earlier on in this race, battling with the guys up top, now down in P number 18. It's a bit of a fall from grace, unfortunately, for him. But of course, we go again next week. As Glendingy is going into the pit lane now, so that is going to give Bania, with the fastest lap, back the lead of this race. And if you look at that gap, he is so far ahead. 9 seconds to Zavantis in there. And then, of course, you've got to have P number 2 in there as well. As let's have a look up top, shall we? As there is, of course, P number 2 of Turner. So, now making their fight prominent. 22 minutes left on the clock. And not more. Oh, the 3-2-1 went wide. There is nothing really big a matter there. As they continue on the main straight, once again in the tow. Closest gap at the moment between these two. Trent are in a little bit of a lull, it seems, but now not so fast, because on the right-hand side goes Papotakis, as the Greek driver looks on the outside of the Ferrari. Maybe an up and under strategy, as the Ferrari does end up going deep, and they go a little bit off the circuit. Now down the inside goes the AMG. What a camera shot there by the static cameras. This is a fight between the Ferrari, between the Merc, and there is contact, and round goes the Ferrari into the gravel on the exit of 3, and that is monumental for Blems. There is plenty drivers behind who will love to capitalise. How far behind did he fall? Down to P number 6. Glendingy is going to get that move done. They're up that position. Contact with the Merc. We are going to get a replay on that one, because what happened there? The cameras didn't do it justice. Let's have a look. Okay, apparently it doesn't want to work. My bad. So, Blems currently making their way through. As yep, there is Papatakis. I feel like that'll be under investigation by the stewards if a ticket is put in, especially considering we just ended the final 20 minutes. So, there we go. Jan van Krulenberg is on the back here of Zavantis as Porsche heading through these corners. On the line. Flash, flash, flash by the Ferrari. Hello. As down the inside goes the Ferrari. Porsche didn't really put up a fight there, the beginner who is leading this category. I feel like I know why they've done that. They want a little bit of space in between themselves. Did Krulenberg just disconnect? No. ACC just had a moment. So they're still going here. Number 28 making their way around. Incredibly close on the rear end. So they are making their way down the main straight, and a big thank you to Ben Lee for the subscription for the subscription with Prime subscription for 5 months. Man's on a roll as you head down through the left-hander. Number 57. These cars are rolling around this circuit at the moment. So heading through these corners, Lacage is also there. And here we go. So we got quite a couple of fights here. We got Jones, who's chasing down Zavantis, but that's more of an interesting one. This is, once again, another three-way fight. As thank you for the 100 bitties, Ben Lee. I need to get better pronunciation. Thank you for the bits here on Twitch as you head through the left-hander. This is a three-car fight. This is the interesting part here. We got a beginner, we've got an am, we've got a pro. But if anybody has anything to lose right now, as there is definitely something to lose, as Mick Ellen Wayne is going to get a drive-through penalty given to them, as around the outside here comes Borgner. They've got stuff to lose and they've got stuff to gain. Not so much with Halliwell, but Borgner needs to chase ahead to get up a position in his class. And also, he's got to be careful of Fisher behind, who's trying to close in on him. So, definitely an interesting one. But the top 6, all, of course, being the pro drivers around this circuit. But now, looking on the inside, hello, here comes the Aston Martin. Almost there. Contact between the two. Little bit of catching. Thankfully, the Ferrari didn't go fully round. But now, who is going to come in? Oh, hello. Well, they're about to get lapped because here comes Turner. But there's Fisher. This is what I was going to ask. Here is Fisher. That bit of contact may have cost them. It will cost them. That's Fisher down the inside. Up in the P number 12 overall. And up in the P number 2 in the beginner class. So that is going to be that for them in the matter. And now with 15 minutes remaining, is desperation going to start to kick in? That is a question. Big rear end jump on the Beamer. Both mistakes being made by these drivers. Here comes Borgner. Borgner around the outside at turn number 14, but ends up going deep. Way too late on the brakes. You can see the tyre marks. Front end locks. He just slid off the circuit. And that is not what you would have wanted there tonight. That is... It seems like maybe tyres are starting to play up, or just unfortunate matter overall. Whew. At the end, it comes down to what they choose. One man, one woman, one car. Never say never, but you've got to play it safe. Natale, by the way, has just been incredibly consistent. I'm not going to down him for this. Same... That's Fred. That's Flair to make or... Same with Turner. Natale, Turner, and of course Banny are just so consistent out there tonight. Oh, that's an Aston Martin off at the bottom. That is, of course, the 239. So that's unfortunate for them. Into the pit lane comes Reese McElwain because of a drive-through penalty. That is not what they would have wanted. But yeah, we're definitely entering the end stages, I would say. So we will remind you that, of course, we race all over Europe and we race all over the world. But especially in Europe, IFWL Logistics takes the cars, takes the equipment, basically makes it so we can race everywhere each week. And of course, you can help us out with IFWL Logistics over on Euro Truck Simulator 2. If you would like to help out and do some jobs for IFWL, transporting equipment to and from races, then go over to Truckers, and of course search up IFWL Logistics to get involved today. New jobs go up every single week. And if you would like to support us here with a little bit more and get some perks while at it, go to patreon.com/IFWL. From today through to the 31st of March, just for that amount of time, you can use my code. Use code LEXI at checkout. That's LEXI, all in capitals, on any tier of the subscription. Bronze, silver, or gold, whichever you choose. 50% off as long as you purchase between now and the 31st of March. A big thank you as well to our affiliates, G-Portal, Fanatec, Loaded, who's formerly CD Keys, SimGrid, and of course Coach Dave Academy with Fanatec. So if you purchase any of those services via the links in our Discord server, a bit of the revenue goes straight back into IFWL, like all IFWL revenue does. That's both Twitch, Patreon, and commissions. So that is, you can find them in our Discord server if you would like to get involved. First of all, follow our socials at IFWL Official. We will appreciate that. And of course, join today at www.ifwl.net. So, as we do continue here, nearly in the final 10 minutes, now we are. It is definitely. I am going. I said it at the start, and I will say it again. I thought this man was going to win, Bania. Now, I'm not going to say he will win. If I say Bania will win, then we'll end up with a cursing matter. It will end up in a regard where he goes round, which we do not want. What we will see is the matter of fact in a moment. Anything could happen. He could crash, he could spin, he could disconnect, and Turner, Natale, Glendinging could take advantage at any moment, just like Papotaski is trying to do right now against the Nissan. We got a Merc versus a Nissan. We got a Ford Mustang in the middle of it, apparently. And now down the inside, Ford Mustang's there. Merc around the outside with Lecage still having their drive-through penalty, by the way. Apologies, hiccups. And this... Apologies, hiccups for some reason. So, they're making their way through. And they're holding on to it. What I want to know is who on earth can fight it? Because the Nissan seems to be doing pretty well, especially there. The Aston seems to tend to go deep in some corners. Specifically, 2, 4, and 11. We'll wait and see for 14, as that's a drive-through penalty for Fisher. So, 2 drivers who were top in the beginners have got drive-through penalties, right as he was on the back of Halliwell as well. So that's what's happened there, as the Nissan... No, that's the Beamer. Back of the Nissan showed for a sec. Confused my brain. As that's that. Papotaski. Papasakis. Papotaksas. I'm not going to try. I'm just going to say Papo. As Papo tries to make the way through. 7 minutes left of the clock with a 21-degree ambient, 29-degree track. Drive-through penalty for Blems, who is top of AM. The drive-throughs are biting. And they don't seem to like Italy or Germany. At least not in the manufacturing part, because Lecage, Fisher, and Blems now have the drive-through penalties. And there is one driver who has been... I haven't said anything about them. The Greek driver of Zavantis is going to get the advantage here, I think. How long is it a pit lane here? Because Blems can either just about come out in front of Zavantis or just behind. It depends how long Zavantis is stuck behind. How long Zavantis is stuck behind Kahlenberg. As there we go, Blems into the pits. So, there's the Ferrari. We're watching for a black, white and blue Porsche on the left-hand side. The leader's coming down the main straight, so P number 7 is about to get lapped. There we go. But where's the other two? There they are. Down the main straight, wheel-to-wheel, side-by-side as well. Hello. Ferrari going to be on the outside, Porsche on the inside. But the Ferrari is going to be ahead, but that puts Zavantis now in the lead of the amateur class. Remember, it's their own championship. The championships are their own. So now, you'll have to watch in the background for the number 57. Because it's 5:10, it's 5 seconds with 5 minutes left on the clock. If a battle continues like this, then we're in for a chance here because it's down by a half a second. We're going to have to see a charge here. Right now, Halliwell has got past. Another Aston's gone deep again. 239 gone deep. Is, of course, Johnson. Lamborghini there as well. Gaps there. So, yeah, Zavantis is there. That's up there. So, there's the limbs. Zavantis seemingly falling off the back. As there's the Ferrari. They're just about behind the timing tower. You can just about see the Ferrari back there. As they make their way around this circuit. Whilst it may not be close for the pros or the beginners, like there's a 15-second gap up there at the top. The battle between Juventus and Blems. The battle between Zavantis and Blems. 3.8 at last timing. 3.7, 3.8. That's the live. So, Vasilis Zavantis is really in for a fight here. Out through turn number 1 as Blems is just about entering it. Yellow flag for not 911. Trying to figure out what that number is. Very much hidden behind there right now. Isn't showing, okay. Zavantis making their way through. Yeah, they've fallen off the back of Kohlenberg. 3.2. If there was another few laps, I would say maybe. But the leader right now is going through turn number 11 and 12. Is going through turn number 11. Meaning there is not enough time on the clock as we will be going on to the final lap here at Valencia after nearly 1 hour of racing. So this is where it's going to count. The gaps have opened up all across the board. And I will say that there is no complaints from myself. Van Krulenberg is leading the beginners, but this is the final lap. This is the final chance. This man, Marcin Bania, has one more lap to go. Can they be crowned the first Open GT winner here on PC? The number 3 has gone round. We'll catch them in just a moment. But we go on board now with the Aston Martin, with the driver at their helm. It is all to play for at the end of the day. There's your overall board. There is your gaps. 15 seconds as it currently stands. And on the live, nothing at all. 8 seconds to the next closest, which is the lapped driver and the leader in the beginners. That is going to be Valencia. That is going to be Kohlenberg. So then you got Cervantes in the amateurs. It will be upset for Blems, and it will also be upset for Lacage. It seemed like the moment wasn't on their side tonight. Pressure possibly getting the best. The white flag flies around Valencia, the circuit, which can be known for biting back. But now this man with the fastest lap in hand. One more car to get past, and he will take it to the line here. Martin Bannier in the Pro. Aston Martin, never say never, to the line here tonight. Martin Bannier wins the Valencia GP in the PC Open GT Series. And that is that. You see the rest of the crew coming through. There's Jan van Krullenberg in top in the beginners. And then, of course, Vasilis Zavantis top in AM. That is going to be that. Those are your winners, but we still got plenty of drivers yet to come to the line tonight. One of them I will go to real quick is Blems. Upset for them tonight after what they saw. Donuts are still going. I don't know if they can hear me, but keep them going. You deserve them as they continue around this circuit. Where are the rest of them? Lacage is out there as well. There is Martin Bannier as the rest of the drivers come to the grid. He has got to be feeling pretty good as he has contact with a Ferrari. But that is that. Formation, it seems, between Blems and Cervantes for a moment as more donuts hit the circuit. What a way to kick off a season as Lapale and Schlender are yet to come to the line. But look at that. A scene to behold. A little bit of bumping. But other than that, they are having a mighty fine time. Krullenberg, congratulations on that. He's, of course, your winner out there in the amateurs. And now it is there. Bannier wins tonight in the pros, and he will take the lead of the championship. Of course, keep in mind these are only provisional, but we do continue here. It will then be P number 2 followed by P number 3 of course, if I go back to this and click drive. Of course, Krullenberg, winner in the beginners. If I find the man, where is he at? Well, Turner, second overall. And then Natale, P number 3. Of course, top in beginners was Krullenberg, and then Cervantes, top in the AMS. That is that, of course, ladies and gentlemen. Please do support us over at Patreon, patreon.com/IFWL. And of course, just from today through to the 31st of March, you can get 50% off your subscription, either bronze, silver, or gold. Of course, that means you can start for as little as £1 a month if you start with bronze. But who knows? Who knows? If you take it into account, you could get a gold subscription for the usual price of silver. See what? Who knows? Maybe that will help us out. And you can, of course, all revenue goes straight back into IFWL to help with server costs, commentators, and, of course, supporting the admin. And, of course, supporting the league as a whole. Big thank you to our partner. Big thank you to our affiliates, G-Portal, Fanatec, Loaded, who's formerly CD Keys, SimGrid, and Coach Dave Academy atop of Fanatec. And of course, go to if you would like to get involved in the action that you saw tonight, go to www.ifwl.net and follow our socials at IFWL Official. I will possibly be on console next week, but we are going to ensure that you have at least some PC streams this month on this season on Fridays. Well, ladies and gentlemen, from myself, I've been Zalexi. This has been IFWL, the PC Open GT Series, season number 1 opener at Valencia. Good night.